Oh, good. Okay. Excellent. All right, here we are. Folks, we are live streaming. Hello, everyone in the chat. Hopefully that went through. So we started a minute late because Troy and I were geeking out over here. We both have new cameras, new camera bodies in our possession. He owns his. Mine is a loaner. Mine is the new GH6 that came in that box back there that I cannot show yet because it's going to be announced shortly. I think tonight is they're announcing it, and then we're doing a live stream tomorrow. But I can't, you know, I can't talk about it. But Troy got his hands on the holy grail of Nikon cameras currently, which is the Nikon Z9. Hey, La
Yeah,
Duderino.
and wait,
La Duderina.
it
Yeah,
smells
but
so good.
that thing I want it. Okay, so what was it? Do you have buyer's remorse yet? Are you sad that you bought the
Oh,
Nikon
dear
Z9?
God, no,
Do you want another
no,
one? Are you gonna have two eventually? You know?
no. I won't. I won't have two because it won't be. It won't be for me. It would be for Marty, and Marty doesn't need a camera this big. But I will tell you, having shot most of my career with the D5s, right, like D5, D3 series, the big pro bodies, even coming from film, I shot um, with the F5 and stuff. So that big body really feels good in my hand. And when I
Yeah.
pull this out of the box, it just it
Oh.
it really felt good. I do love the Z6 and 7s. I love them and I have
Mhm.
no qualms with them, but they feel a little
Don't talk negative.
Amy says keep it clean. No, but it does feel a little softer, right? A little smaller.
Yeah.
This one feels great. It's a little smaller than I expected, but they did say that the body is a little smaller than like the D5 or the D6.
I want to see it. I can't wait to see
So
it. I feel like I want to just go to a camera store and play with that. It looks like
they don't even
Steven is
have
in
them.
here. Well, they have demo units, right? They got to have demo units
No,
in the store.
no, no. Not that I found. Like Sammy's doesn't have any. So
So who's in here? Karen is in here. What's up, Karen? Stephen Sharf. Amy Brooks is in his house. Hey, Amy. And folks are coming in. Yeah, it's yeah, the Z9. I will have that Precious, by the way. I will have it eventually. So
yeah. So
you're my crash test dummy. So you can learn everything there is about it and then just teach it to me when I get mine.
well,
So
I got a few weeks to really get it dialed in. The one thing that I notice a lot is that there's a lot of buttons that the Z6 and Z7 don't have. Like they're placed differently, so you have some more function buttons that I'm gonna have
mhm.
to figure out how to work into my workflow. It's pretty simple. I don't do any back button autofocus or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I'll get it dialed in. I'll get it dialed in.
Yeah, you will. That's the fun part, right? That's the
Yeah.
honeymoon period. I'm currently kind of at the tail end of with the Z6 too of getting all the custom functions dialed in and
Right.
yeah, getting the
Right.
muscle memory trained and all that stuff. And it's fun. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things for me is that before I go shoot a wedding or before I go do even a regular family portrait or anything, I want this to be second nature. So this is going to live with me for a couple weeks. I'll carry it with me. I'll take pictures of the cats and the pottery and just random things. My
Yeah.
brain will go, oh, I wonder if it'll track that, and I'll just make it.
Yeah.
I'll try to make it work. Yeah,
That's where I
Margie's
am
going to
now.
be running around the backyard and
Hey Margie, run around the loops. I gotta see if it tracks a human.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that's cool. Congratulations. That's a big day. That's a big day for a
Oh, it's
photographer when
good. Yeah, I'm
you
happy
get a
with it.
new tool. That's like a knight getting a new sword or something, right?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. I'm very excited about it, especially the new focusing system is what convinced me to look at this because I like to shoot shallow. I like to shoot, my 85 1/8. I like to shoot the 24 1/4s, the 20 1/8. And, to be honest, like your cameras usually get about a 30% hit rate on moving subjects, grabbing eyes and things. And I want that hit rate to go up because then I'll get
Mhm.
more images that are sellable.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
At
you
45
know,
megapixels, right?
Yeah, and Steven says, Troy, I need to bring you up to the race event at Sonoma Raceway so you can try it out and shooting on race cars. Yeah, and I just learned that it tracks automobiles too. That's one of the things it recognizes and will track is
Yeah, I read that.
automobiles. So I didn't, that didn't click
That would
with
be,
me.
yeah, I wonder. That would be interesting to Steven's point. That'd be interesting to see what their idea of tracking automobiles is, right? Is it tracking an automobile that's going, 150 miles an hour, around a speedway, or is it tracking, cars and traffic and normal things that normal humans shoot? So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll test it. I'm gonna test it.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thanks everybody for popping in. Just FYI, a bit of housekeeping. Troy and I were going to do this critique within the TWiP community because the platform that we're on, as you guys know, is Circle. They've rolled out the ability for us to live stream directly within the community and do screen shares and all that sort of thing. It's still not. I would say it's kind of medium rare at the moment. It's not quite it's not quite there. Like they haven't wired up the bit of you can create a live stream event and tie it in to a scheduled event. So like this one, most of you guys came in and clicked on you went to the events area, the photo critiques area, you just clicked on the link. That requires some machinations to be able to do that. So in the next couple of weeks or so, we'll probably switch over to doing it natively inside the community, which is what we want to do all along. Like these critiques are a community benefit. The YouTube platform just allows us to do these live streams easily, unlisted and all that. So just FYI, that's coming onward and upward as we improve the back-end processes. Once we can do it internally, though, that's when the doors kind of open up to all kinds of things. Because not only can we do these critiques, we still have to do our member mixers using Zoom because of the way Zoom works, and it supports the grid view and you can chat and all that stuff. It just works. It's the right tool for that. But for quick things, like if Troy or anyone really wants to do, jump on and do some sort of quick training on something, we can do that easily within the community. It'll notify everyone that we're going live and all that. So it just makes sense to do it internally and keep the external stuff external when necessary. So progress.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that spontaneous, hey, I'm going to sit down and edit a wedding. Anybody want to jump in and just do it? And any of us can do that. That's the beauty of how Circle is. And it's so funny, even though it's not my community, I've been really close to it and seeing it mature. I feel like like the Godfather, right? Like I feel like somebody, I've been like, it's like, yay, it's finally there.
It's getting there. It's taking its first steps. I would argue that it is your community, Troy Miller. Don't sell yourself short. The community would not be where it is today had it not been for your patience in letting me test things with you and your suggestions on doing things and you talking me down off of ledges when conversations were going off the rails.
That's just being part of the community. That's all fun. That's all fun. I love it. I love it.
Me too. All right. Enough of that. Let's dive in to this week's photo critique. This is critique number 180. And the topic was ARCHES. 180. Boy, you believe that?
What's going to happen when we hit 200? What happens?
We got to do something special. And why are you picturing a picture? Let me get rid of you. How are you picturing a picture and I'm not? All right, there you go.
I know.
The guy that's running this doesn't know what he's doing. All right, critique 180 is ARCHES. Let me just reload the community, make sure I have the latest and greatest of submissions. All right. Karen says we're on her big LG display. Man, we're in HD. All right. First one up is Peter Levshin. I'm going to do something on Peter Levshin's post right here because this just bugs my OCD. I don't know why it doesn't default to this. I'm going to edit Peter's comment here. I'm going to come in and make it full screen.
You know what? If you just do that for all the critiques, eventually everybody will just realize they can do that.
I've been doing it, but
I made a couple posts and I saw in the right-hand column, your sticky video that said, make your things. I had to go back in and edit my post.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Well, it'll eventually. I wish they would just default. It should default to full width. I don't understand why they
Yeah,
don't do
makes
that.
no sense. Yeah.
All right, Peter Levshin says the very big arch, also known as the big coat hanger. All right, let's pull this up. Look at that.
Cool.
Where is this at? Did he say where this was
This
located?
is in Australia.
This is Australia? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the Harbor Bridge, or I don't know what it's called. But yeah, this is that bridge.
All right, if
I
any
love
of the Aussies are in here, please let us know where this is.
yeah, maybe Mark can tell us. I think there's another photo of this in the critique, but what I really like about this is the simplicity, and it's a silhouette, but it's obvious what it is, right? And so I can actually see all the detail and all the triangles and all the intricacies there. And I love that the sun is under that arch. I just dig that so much. And even the dark background working with the silhouette is wonderful. Really gives it a nice mood. So
yeah, I love these kind of iron patterns. Like this reminds me of the Eiffel Tower. I posted an Eiffel Tower shot last night. This reminds me of that kind of, the intricate geometry that goes into creating a structure like this that can stand up and support untold amounts of weight. And then the composition on this, obviously it's intentional, an intentional silhouette. Peter left a little bit of detail in there. See right in there? Left a little bit of highlight detail in there, which I appreciate. And obviously the photographer wanted to show that celestial body in the background there. So it looks really cool. Yeah, and definitely fits in with the theme of this critique, which is arch. I like it. And the other thing I like about this is, and I think because I was playing with that Eiffel Tower shot last night, just playing around, trying different things. One of the things I was trying was I was going for, and I didn't post it. I was going for this kind of old duotone kind of sepia. It's got a little bit of color in there, but not enough to say it's color. That kind of feel. This kind of puts me in that because in the highlights, you can see the highlights are reflecting or showing the same cloud color in there, which I like. It's really cool.
Yeah, and as much as I love Peter, I like to pick on him, and I'm having a hard time finding something in this image that I could really pick on him about. So he did a good job.
Cool, excellent. Yeah, Steven says it's the Sydney Harbor Bridge. Very cool.
Yeah, that's what it is.
All right, very cool. All right, Peter. Is Peter planning on heading back to Australia anytime soon, you think?
I don't know. I know that he goes back every year. So I'm going to say yes, but I don't know of any plans that he has at the moment. So he does usually make these rounds, so.
Yeah. Well, he's got fish to fry here right now, right? with his container issue. By the way, speaking of container issues, before we go on to Karen Sweeney's shot, this Lumix GH6 that I'm helping Panasonic announce tomorrow, they shipped that to me Thursday, and with overnight from a major multi-billion-dollar corporation, right? It's supposed to be, they shipped it overnight. It's supposed to be here on Friday. So like, okay, cool. Friday, I'll play with it over the weekend, get familiar, etc. Crickets, nothing, didn't show up. No notice. I'm checking. I use an app called Deliveries, so I'm checking deliveries to see what the status of it is. Nothing. It's still sitting in Stockton, California. I'm like, okay, that's geez. right up the street up there. It's 20 minutes up the street. I could go get it. Just tell me what's going on. Nothing. Next day, nothing. So Sunday, nothing, right? So I'm like, what is going on with this package? Did it get stolen or lost or whatever? So I call them up. I have to count to 10 first. I'm like, I don't want to be the irate person. They deal with these people all day. It's not their fault, Frederick. Call them up. So I get on the phone. I'm like, yes, I have a package, a very important package that was due to be delivered on Friday. It has not been delivered. Can you tell me what the status of it? He immediately launches into apologetics. He's like, and human, no less. Normally they're like, well, sir, we're sorry for your inconvenience and blah, blah, all this stuff. He goes into this, he was human. He's like, okay, look, we're short-staffed in Stockton. We can't hire people up there for some reason. People don't want to work, so we're short-staffed. And he said, then we have supply chain issues. There was a container delay coming out of a connecting hub, and everybody's stuff was delayed. So we're sorry, but we promise we'll get it to you on Monday before 10 o'clock. And of course it showed up. But I was just surprised by that they were like, they didn't go, a major corporation like FedEx didn't go into the whole scripted apologetics nonsense,
Yeah, I guess it's better than your custom Porsche burning. in a container off the coast on a container ship, right? Like,
Yeah,
could be
that would have
worse.
been a different Frederick.
Yeah,
uh, all right, let's switch
yeah.
back in. Sorry for my side quest. Karen Sweeney's up next. She says, for the Arches critique, this is an HDR image of the courtyard entrance behind Pollock House. Had removed some modern elements that spoiled the charm of the scene. It's taken with a Nikon D850 with a 24 to 120 at 24, merged and edited in Affinity Pro. Let's take a look. Nice. I like this. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very warm. I wonder what she removed. The modern elements that were. Tell us in the chat, Karen. I know you're in there. What do you think of the shot on its? It well, clearly fits into arches. We see our arches, so check mark.
It definitely does. No, I'm pixel peeping a little bit. I'm sort of pushing around inside the image to kind of see what I can see and kind of look deeper into it. I really love this. I love the presentation, even the key line. I like all that, how you grab the color from the bush over on the left. I think it makes a really nice presentation. I love the fact that the arch is not dead center, which would be really easy to do, that it's off on camera right, so it's kind of off on that third. It gives us this leading line from the bottom left-hand corner into the scene, which I really dig. It really gives me this sense of I want to go in there and I want to pass through that.
Yeah.
My only consideration for maybe some fine tweaking would be to look at sort of the color balance throughout the image. You've got some cold tones maybe in the rocks on the right hand side, but then when you look into the tunnel, I realize it's warm and then it gets cold. I'm a big fan of trying to keep the color palette throughout the image the same. So I like my colors to be, I like my light sources to be similar. So if we're going to go with a warm tone in the arch, let's go with a cool tone outside, right? So that it really offsets that. The sky in the top right hand corner, I love that little streak of cloud so that it keeps us in the image, but it's kind of warm. It's kind of a warm tone. So I'm wondering, like, if it was to be desaturated or maybe cooled down just a bit to kind of make it feel a little chilly, make me want to walk through that arch.
Yeah. 100%. Two comments from me on this are, we've had the discussion ad nauseum about key lines and borders and all that. I think it's fine. It works great on this one. I'm not 100% sold on the color. I understand, like, you like the color being taken from the bushes and then used as part of the key line. I don't know, I'm struggling with it. If this bush were part of the subject, which this is the arch, and like you said, the leading the viewer through that arch are kind of where the artist wants us to go. If that were part of it, this bush were part of that narrative, then having it be part of this border, I think, would sell it more. To me, I think I would have preferred a white border around here. And 9 times out of 10, if we're going to, not a white border, I'm sorry, a white key line, black border with a white key line around there, because of the whiteness in the sky. We have some whites over here, and it just, it would say that this bush is less important right now. With it pulling that color from it, it's telling me that it's giving undeserved importance to that bush over there just because it was a color. So I don't know. That's completely, like we talked about in the member mixer. This is completely subjective, right? And this is just me looking at it and my off the cuff thoughts. But other than that, I think it's fine. I mean, it's subjective, so it could go either way. It's not wrong. But when I look at it, I think, okay, is that key line in service of this narrative that Karen is trying to tell with this story? And no, because this bush is great right there, but it's not leading me through that path there. I don't know. Does that make sense, Troy?
No, it makes perfect sense. I think it's one of those kind of things that when we look at an image, there's so many things that we're attracted to, or that we just don't see or bother us, and those type of things can be very, very powerful. And that's why we have to be aware of them. So as much as I love the keyline, I would probably take it down maybe 30-40% so that it's not as obvious. And I think that would probably fix a lot of the things that you're seeing, right? Because then it wouldn't jump off the page.
Yeah.
Karen says she's trying.
Go ahead.
What does it say? She was trying to emulate a teak frame with a gold trim. So Yeah,
Oh,
that makes perfect sense. But I
click the wrong
I
one. There
love
we
it. I
go.
think it's
Yeah.
fantastic. I think it's very, very well done.
Yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, that's completely valid, Karen. Thanks for throwing that in the chat. I think that for me, the coloration of that key line would make more sense if this bit of foliage, these vines or whatever up here, had that color in them too, right? Then it's like, okay, I get it. It's in there, and
Right.
they're more supporting characters at that point, other than just sort of off to the side, as it were.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a beautiful location. So, I mean, I would definitely visit this a lot in different
What?
weather, different lighting, and spend a lot of time there. And even go so far as to, throwing some artificial light into a scene like this. So imagine that you underexposed the ambient light and you had a strobe that was on the other side of the tunnel that threw
Mm,
light through the tunnel that kind of made that would give us even more of a draw,
yeah.
into that scene. There's so much that you could do here.
What about this light in here? I'm on the fence about that too, because part of me is like, brightest point in the scene, your eye goes to it, and my eye is automatically, it draws me into the tunnel for one. So it's helping that leading line. It draws me in there. But I don't know. Do I want the light in there? Is
Which light?
the light inside the tunnel on the roof?
Oh, no, I love that. Yeah, you can't
Okay.
get rid of that.
Okay.
No, no, I think that's the hero. That's my
Hmm.
favorite part of the image.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, no,
Nice.
I love that.
It needs a knight on a horse either entering or
Yeah.
exiting.
Somebody leaning in that doorway.
Yeah. A bride
I
and a
could
groom.
definitely I could get rid of we're gonna get really picky. I could get rid of the light that's in the back, that little pedestal light, because it's not
Yeah.
doing anything.
Hmm.
Um, or put a little orange glow in there and, bring the tones down, give us sort of that night look.
Oh,
So
look at this. Here's some inside baseball. Karen says the light you see through the arch wasn't switched on,
Oh,
so I faked it being lit. Nice. I had no idea. I had no
nice.
idea. Yeah. No idea.
Bravo.
Yep. Well done. Well done. Even
It
got the cast or the light spillage right here on the roof to sell it even more. Very nice.
Yeah, so with that, and I wasn't gonna say anything because I thought, I don't want to assume, but the orange light is only on one part of the arch and not on the back, the further back part of the arch, and I thought, maybe more light would be back there. Um, but either way, I mean, well done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very cool.
Nice.
Nice. Good work, Karen. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. It just makes me jealous. Like, oh, like Karen, Michael Rhino live in these places where you just go out and wander around. Like, oh, look at that! Something's been around for hundreds of years. Let me take a photo of it. Yeah, we don't have that in Silicon Valley. We have nothing like that.
Nah, nothing worth pointing a camera at, that's for sure.
No, not at all. It's so bad. Mark Harris is up next. Let's bring this up. All right, your thoughts, Troy Miller.
At first, it took me a second to kind of figure out, what this was. And, it was the hand in the foreground that really sort of tipped me off. At first, I thought, okay, it could be a sculpture, it could be, but now I see the hand that tells me that it's a person. So with that in mind, I was thinking cropping that hand out above the elbow, is something that I really like.
Mm,
And going
mm,
going in a little bit tighter or burning the hand down a lot more because I think it kind of stands out to me in the way that the hand is shaped. It feels very eerie and kind of distorted. I like the curve of the body and the rib cage and going down the hip and I like all of that. I just with that hand turned backwards to me, it just feels very bizarre. So
yeah.
pushing it a little tighter, a little more abstract, I think for me.
I agree. Yeah, I think for me again, and I said this in the mixer. The Let me bring you up to screen. This is reminiscent of a black and white fine art nude photographer by the name of Jean-Luc Sieff, Sieff, I believe.
Mhm.
Mark's work is very reminiscent of that, and it's amazing. He also, I think, tends to underexpose a little bit by like half a stop or so, and it looks like that's what's going on here. Even though we have like any more, I mean, these highlights up here would have been completely blown. So I see he's going. He's going for the arch and the artistic kind of abstract of the human body here. But yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I like that. I agree with the crop. The one thing that is a pet peeve of mine, and I don't know if that's what's going on here, is either in a photograph or in reality, I hate deodorant. I hate I hate to see like deodorant powder in underarms. For some reason, that gets in my craw. I don't know why. It just gets in there. Um, and I think that's what's going on right here in the right here in the shot. I don't know if that's what I'm seeing there, but if that's it, I would have retouched that out of there because it's for me it's distracting a little bit away from the
Right.
overall beautiful form and curves of the human body here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to tell. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool shot though.
Cool.
Yeah, I agree. So you'd say crop it like around right here. Would you crop the hand and the foot off, or just the
Yeah.
just oh and the foot?
You know, yeah, this is a tough one, I think, because of the angle that it was shot at. So, maybe Mark really intended to keep those hands in there and the feet for the intention of the abstract nature and sort of the oddity of it. I don't know. But for me, I mean, I would push in, I would play a lot more into, the torso and the hips and then the leg kind of dropping off. I feel that that would be more abstract and there would be less distracting elements that may not make sense.
Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. Mark corrected me in the chat. He says, no, you're seeing her underarm here. Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. This is cool. I mean, it's interesting what he did here because, obviously playing within the rules of censorship and what's allowable on YouTube and social media, this I
Yeah.
think would fit in, right? I don't think the algorithm gods would frown on this shot, but you never know. It's like, oh, there's skin. Too much skin. Get it out of there.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, Mark said he's going to post one of them in the not safe for work area in the TWiP community. So that'll be nice.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have to censor it there. So that's
Right,
good.
and you can go full resolution, and it's not the service is not going to compress the hell out of your image when you put it up there.
Yeah.
All right. Karen says you can't access that part. Karen, I'll check that out. I'll make sure you get access after this. All right. Thank you, Mark Harris. Good work. Keep it up, Mark. Love it.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't read this. He said for the Arches critique model, Juliet Rose photographed with a single light and a fisheye lens. It did a bit of dodge and burn, as well as censored enough to keep it YouTube. Yeah, yeah. Wow, that was a fisheye? Oh, interesting. Wow. You must have been like right there, like 4 inches away from her. Really cool. All right, next up is Michael Rhino. He says, my entry for the Arches critique is this photo from Arches National Park near Moab, Utah. And of course, I have to go in and make a slight change to this post.
Yeah.
my
I knew.
Sorry, because my OCD is in full effect today. All
I guess
right,
I could do it too, right? Like I could do it before it got to you, but
you could. Hey, part of this is by design. I want it in the recording that I'm changing that so people see it.
right.
Yep. All right, here we go. What do you think? Arches. I love this shot, but go ahead.
There's a lot of wow in this, and what I'm not a huge fan of the cliche landscape shot, and then you put a person in it, right? Like that to me is just it's been overdone, especially the night shots with the headlights and stuff. I can't stand those shots. Um, so to me, this shot feels very candid. The the nature of the subject walking, doesn't feel like somebody put them in there and said, hey, I'm going to show scale, right? Like probably a tourist or a friend or somebody that's just out there moving, and it really works in this. And I love the candidness of that body pose and the way that that person is in there. So I dig that. And I think that really adds to the image, right? Because we have these wonderful arches and that color contrast. I mean, this is really kind of a duotone image. It's orange and blue. So what a fabulous image, and well composed and just well balanced and tack sharp all the way through. And the horizon's not in the center. I just love all of it. Yeah, it's great.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah, all of that. Yeah, it's for me, it's really interesting. I love. I don't. I'm sure this was intentional, knowing Michael Rhino,
Right.
but the yin yang of it, right? The yin yang of the shadow on the bottom, and then the yang of the shadow on the bottom, and the yin of the well lit part on the top is working together. I love that. I love the fact, like you said, this figure is included in there because without this figure in there, your brain would be searching for scale. Like, okay, where am I? Where am I? Okay,
Right.
where was the camera? How big is this? Is this tiny? Is this big? Look at these big structures. How big are they? Having this in there, this person in there is perfect because now my brain instantly knows this is gigantic. This is
Right.
a huge rock formation there. So all that with the yin yang, and then like you said, the non bisecting horizon line, it works. It works really well. Yeah, and the duotone nature of it, or
Yeah.
tritone, right? The whites, blacks, and the oranges and the blues works.
And there's just two things that would make it better. One, a nice mat with a key line, and two,
Because everything's
this is
better
the
with
real
salt. Everything's better with salt, right,
yes,
Troy?
Cajun salt. It's got to be Cajun salt.
Cajun salt, salt
Um,
on cereal, everything.
ooh, Cajun salt. As long as it's spicy.
Yeah.
It looks like there like the sky has been burned down. So if you look around the pillar, the lower pillar, like dead center, like the one right in front of our subject that's walking,
Hmm.
if you look through sort of like that keyhole on the right, the little one along the edges, it's bright. You can see halos. So it looks to me like it was burned down, but you didn't get right to the edge. And that's one of the telltale signs of manipulation, right? Is like you bring the sky down or whatever, but you got to get right to the very, very, very edge of those subjects. So
Yeah, yeah. I need to
yeah, it's
go
definitely
here.
not phased.
Yeah, Steven says he's been here. I know you've been out there, right? To
Oh yeah,
Arches.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My Nikon tells me it wants to go out there. So I need to get out there.
It's a wonderful place. You can walk around at midday. It's beautiful, even without waiting for perfect sunlight. And then if you can wait for the better sunlight, sunrise, sunset kind of things, it just gets better as the light scrapes across the rock. Um, if you have an infrared camera, this place is gorgeous in the middle of the day.
Yeah. Oh, I can't imagine. Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Man, Amy's been out there too. Everybody's been there except me. Well, Amy, you've been everywhere. You're like
This is true.
Amy's like David Carradine in Kung Fu, traveling the world with her camera, taking pictures.
Yeah.
I love it. Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will. I will
This
have
is
a
a
shot
great.
like this.
Yeah.
So on this, real quick, before we move on from this. So hypothetically, Frederick says, "Yeah, I'm inspired. I want to go out to Arches next weekend. I'm going out there. What would you do to prepare for that, Troy? Would you get online and make kind of a wish book of, oh yeah, that I want to get a shot similar to Michael Rhino's, and then I've seen this thing with the balancing rock. I want to get that shot, and maybe I'll do some astrophotography out there and make a list, and then go out there and execute? Or do you throw yourself into Arches knowing that almost anywhere you point your camera, you're going to get something interesting? How would you approach that, having never been to Arches before?
Well, it really depends on your intention, right? If your intention is to go out and get, a handful of really, really, really good or the best you can get landscapes, you have to do your research ahead of time. You
Hmm.
have to plot where the sunrise and the sunset is. You have to get on like a photo ephemeris and figure that kind of stuff out and look up the iconic shots that you want to go to. Because you can't just show up at Balance Rock or at this arch and just nail an amazing shot like this. Like it'll look cool.
Hmm.
So I would say if you're really going out there to get some really amazing landscape shots, you have to put your research in ahead of time.
Yeah.
Um, but what I like to do is if I've never been to a location before, I don't set any expectations. And what I do is I just show up and I just experience the place. If I'm able to get up early in the morning, I'll go. If I can't, I'll stay there till sunset. I mean, I know those times, right? I might look and see if the moon is out, but really I just show up and let the place kind of explain it to me what looks cool. And
Yeah.
then I'll plan another trip later to come back and do big stuff.
Like a scouting mission, right? Yeah, that's kind of what
Yeah.
I was thinking, because that's always the rub, right? You go to these places, and you typically, if I went there by myself, I would be like, man, I should have brought Cameron and Nicole with me. They would really love to see this stuff, right? And then I'm taking pictures. So I think the formula is, like you said, go out there on a scouting mission, maybe with some Klingons, right?
Yeah.
And make some notes, and then go home and log, get photographer's ephemeris or photo pills, plan out your journey, and then go back by yourself on a solo mission and execute. So that seems like that might be
Yeah.
the flow.
And to be fair, I mean, landscape for me is a relaxing adventure. I don't make money doing it. It's not my career. It's not what I work really hard at, to be honest. I just love being outside. And so I don't want to work that hard at it. And I don't want to be disappointed if I'm not in a place at a certain time. I like hunting and just discovering. And if I get a great shot, great. Honestly, I'm not going to get up for sunrise. I tried it. I tried it once a couple days ago. It was not fruitful, but I did it.
And never again, right? Never again.
Maybe. But, for me, and I think every photographer kind of has to look at how they want to do it. I like to be outside in nature, whether I have just my phone or my gear.
Yeah.
I would rather just be in nature. I'm not going to try that hard. But
yeah,
Michael, he's trying hard, right? Like, it shows. His work is way better than mine outside.
I think the getting up early thing, I think that I did that for 8 years, right? And don't enjoy getting up early as a result. But I think I don't enjoy it, but would do it if I had a plan getting up, like going out and considering if I'm in an interesting area, like I'm in Vietnam or Iceland or something, and I feel like I'm missing things. I'm like, okay, yeah, I got to get up and just go explore and get the shots and do all that stuff. And maybe I've planned a little, like I want to get this shot, but I think, barring that, the being in an exotic location or something like that, yeah, I think planning and then going to do the shot is better than just getting up and hoping serendipity gives you a shot. And then the other thing is, you, Troy Miller, live on the West Coast, so you get the sunsets, so you can go and get the magic hour golden sunsets whenever you want. Whereas if you're on the East Coast, it would be a sunrise if you want to get over the water.
Absolutely. But just to wrap up that thought, there's nothing wrong with grabbing your camera and just taking a walk and letting serendipity, letting the world bring things to you. I mean, that's valid. That's a valid way to photograph. You don't have to go out and hunt and prepare and make it stringent and controlled. Just throw a lens on, get dropped off, and just walk. Just take pictures of the weeds and the grass and the cracks on the rock. Like, there's amazing stuff there too. So
yep, it's an amazing planet. All right, cool. All right, Michael Rhino, thank you for sharing this amazing shot once again. All right, moving right along.
And I tried to resize the next image, but apparently I cannot. So
let's see. Oh, you can't. Huh, you're a moderator. That's interesting that you cannot.
No.
Tim Engel.
I can flag it for review by the... Yeah, I know. No, I don't get those options.
I got to give you
That's
those
all right.
superpowers.
We'll let you do it.
I'll give you the superpowers. Do you have this go live thing on your screen? See that at the top? You have that go live button?
I do.
You do?
No.
See that?
No, I don't get that.
Interesting. Oh, okay. I have to enable you. All right, here's Tim's shot. I changed my mind. I'm not sure what he's saying there. But yeah, this is Tim using his superpowers to enter this critique. He's the commercial photographer extraordinaire. It's really interesting to watch Tim work, because a lot of photographers are very technical and methodical and scientific about light placement and light meter and this and that and all that. Tim is much more of he's not playing electronic music. He's playing jazz when he's shooting, right? And he knows jazz, right? So he's like, I want a shadow right here. I want this. Oh, I got to put a gobo to get this light in the background. Oh, perfect. Okay, now I want the model doing this. He sees it in his head and then executes. It's really interesting to watch.
Yeah,
really interesting.
Yeah, what do you think about how I work?
Yeah.
I don't use light meters for anything. I just look at the light and put it where I want, and then I play. But that's that's a lot of years of experience.
Right, right.
I I love this image. I think that one of the traits that I really love about what Tim does is that his imagery is so clean. You know, he's distilled everything down to the minimal that he needs in the frame to either tell a story or to communicate. Like in this case, I'm guessing in this case, like a commercial shoot or something. So I love that. It's incredibly clean. The lighting is very intentional. I know this is shot in a cove. I can tell, you know, the background is a high key background, but I love that he threw in like that window light, right? Like light coming through the window to create, you know, some depth.
Yeah,
Otherwise, when you shoot on a cove, like you have no idea how far away things are. So
yeah, yep.
yeah, I just love it. My only suggestion is that, you know, we have this odd color from the lower left corner. It's kind of like a purpley cyan or a purpley magenta to like a cyan in the top right hand corner.
Hmm.
So I would try to keep that tone constant throughout the background, unless he did that on purpose, or it doesn't matter. But we're getting picky. And then the highlight behind her feet, I don't I don't think that we need to go pure white
Here,
with that. But
yeah.
yeah, but that's incidental, right? Like that's really small stuff. I mean, the body pose, it looks natural, it looks comfortable for her. It would be terrible for me. Um, but I love it. I love the how the foot is crossed. I feel that's really nice.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
it feels
Yeah, professional image. Do you, you know, I this doesn't bother me that much, but the closeness of her butt to the edge of the frame up here, is that fine, or should it have the same amount of space as she has over here, or am I just grasping at straws?
I'm I'm a big fan of giving the image a little bit more breathing room. Or if you're going to come in tight intentionally all the way around. So yes, I feel the top is a little bit tight because the left, the bottom, and the right are not. There's really no reason to have the top that tight. And it's super easy to fix even if you didn't get it in camera.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. No, I love this. Really cool shot. Really cool.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Tim Ingle, for that. And moving
Bravo.
on to our next shot is from Amy Brooks. Amy says, Granada Cathedral at sunrise, a very tight space to work with to capture the entire facade. Person in blue for scale. Also, thank you, Amy, for that.
So did you put that person in there? Did you ask them to walk in there, or was that just very serendipitous with somebody there? Because sometimes you'll be at a location, you're like, gosh, if I could just get a good looking human to walk through there.
Right. With a
So
blue shirt, that would be perfect because it would reflect on the sky, you know. Yeah, yeah, I love that.
you
I
can make
love
the
that she
shirt
put that in there
anywhere.
because I without that person in there, the grandeur of this shot would be diminished. That person in there, even
Yep.
those just a few pixels of person in there, immediately recognizable to other people, other humans, and now you know that wow, that thing was huge and was a effort in human engineering to get that thing done. I love that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I love all the textures. I love the color that's in here. And I especially love the fact that we have that person in there to give us scale. The thing that I'm really struggling with this image is that we don't seem to have a line that's either vertical or horizontal.
Hmm.
This was shot slightly off center to the left and up, so you have this odd convergence. You know, your lines are gonna move away from you, right? And that's that's something that you could probably fix in post by squaring that up in perspective in either Lightroom or Capture One. I think that that would really help this image a lot. So that's my biggest struggle. And you're never going to be centered, right? You're never going to be
Hmm.
centered in that doorway exactly because it looks like you need to move to the right to be centered. So
I mean, is
um,
this a shot that you would use, you know, like a perspective or transform in Photoshop to straighten it, or would that?
I would, yeah. I
Yeah.
would at least get the vertical lines. I think that in a case like this, the most important thing are the vertical columns and the pillars. So I would work at just getting that vertical. It's okay, that it's sort of tilted horizontally. Like that's fine. That just shows depth and scale. But I would work on that. That's what I would do. I would try to at least get those columns vertical.
Amy says she tried, but it started to look really wonky with the
It
distortion.
does, yeah.
Yeah, it's
It
a fine
can. That's
line, right? Because you like
yeah,
what I would do is like turn on a grid, or draw out some lines, some guides, and then transform it to match those guides. But yeah, I was trying to do that the other day, and a couple pixels in, and it just looks completely cartoonish if you don't do it right. Especially if you have things in there that are
right.
recognizable. Like Amy says, this is a mannequin that she put in there. Like this mannequin.
Yeah.
you know?
She carries it with her. She carried it with her everywhere she went.
Yeah, yeah. She calls it Troy. She puts
Nice.
Oh man, yeah. Steven says lens
Yeah.
correction in Photoshop can help too. Yeah, yeah, but it only goes so far, and it doesn't know what you're trying to accomplish. It's just going to correct mathematically the lens distortion that whatever got introduced. It's not going to go beyond that. Where if you have a shot like this where you need to stretch the limits and go beyond what is normal, then the automatic lens correction is going to not do it for you.
Yeah, that thing is only going to take you so far. This is going to require manual manipulation. You're going to have to manually go in, grab certain points, and correct the perspective in a way that your eyes are happy to see. That might not actually be true perspective, right? It may not actually be truly parallel. You may have to create some parallax or something. But this is one of those kind of things where now that you've shot it and you look at it and you critique it and you're like, well, if I could have gotten center and I could have, changed the perspective, then that would have been the way to do it. But if not, what a gorgeous place though, just to be there and shoot that.
Yeah, yeah, we're still reaping the benefits of Amy's trip out there. So very cool.
Yeah, Amy's saying that if you Google Earth cathedral, you can see how tight the space is. Yeah, that's always the challenge, right? Like we have to work with our environment. So
Yeah, yeah, interesting. Very cool. Thank you, Amy Brooks. You rock.
yeah, great.
And you notice Troy did not say he'd want to see it in black and white. I was waiting for that. He didn't say it.
I don't have to say that. It's obvious. It's obvious what that building would look like in black and white. I don't need to say that. They
It goes
know.
without saying now. I don't even have to say it. All right. Up next, speaking of black and white, Eric Pronsky says arches at the Ponte Vecchio in Florence, Italy. All right.
Very
This
nice.
is cool. This is cool. I really like this. This is like Hall of Mirrors, but in reality.
Yeah, yeah. No, I really love this. I think that there's really not a lot that I would do with this image other than some dodging and burning. I would take down the left side of the frame so that we're drawn more through the center of the image, right? Because I understand right now we have this window light or light coming in from the left that's striking the left side of the frame. And I would take that down closer to maybe match the right side of the frame. And then it would draw us right through the image even more. Yeah. So I dig it.
I've seen a shot like this before. Did I do it? I did a shot like this in Paris, but I've seen shots like this before of just like these nested Russian doll kind of arches. But the one I saw had a person in there, like right around, kind of in this middle ground area, like right around here,
Yeah.
and. Not that this needs a person at all. I think this is great, just like it is. But the person in there, it gave me the visual feedback of knowing, again, how far and how deep and how big this thing is. Like this archway. How tall is this archway? I'm guessing it's like 10 feet tall. But a person in there would give you the definitive, oh, it's a small archway or it's a large archway. So,
Right.
Yeah,
right.
but,
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is the kind of thing kind of element that I look for doing portraits and weddings and stuff, because, what an amazing, posing helper, right? To put somebody in there for anything. Like there's so much that you can do there. So yeah, this is really wonderful. And what a like a perfect cliche for arches.
Yeah, I know. Like, okay, you want arches? Here you go. Meat and potatoes,
Yep.
arches.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Good job, Eric.
All right, Eric Pronsky, thank you. Saving lives and shooting arches. All right, next up is Stephen
Right.
Scharf. He says architectural arches, Sydney Harbor Bridge. Oh, there you go. It was the same bridge. Sydney Harbor Bridge at night with the arches of Sydney Opera House in the distance from Luna Park at Milson Point. Okay, let's see. Let's take a look. Very cool. See, this is what I was talking about, the key line kind of pulling from the highlights in the image. This is really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is a very traditional and very clean way to do it. We just did the webinar, the image competition discussion, and I have recorded an edition, well, actually 2 editions to that, but one of them is how to do this, how to put a key line on an image very, very easy. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, so I'll share all that once that's all edited and stuff. But this is a very traditional matting method, and I really like that. I do really love this image. I love the fact that you've got that the light coming from the opera house back there at the back. I don't know if it feels like it's tilted clockwise. So the tower on the right up against that right edge, you can see how it's slightly tilted, and it also feels like that in the horizon. So I would try to bring that back just a little bit.
Oh yeah, I wonder. Yeah. Oh, interesting. I wonder if that tilting is an optical illusion because of how dark the darks here are here, and we've got land back there, so it's kind of given us the optical illusion that we're getting an angle. Then we've got this converging line up here, but yeah, you're right. This spire pillar here is a dead giveaway that needs to be rotated to the left a little. But this is one of those I need to drag a guide in or a bunch of guides in to see if it is actual. Yeah. And then with that said, excuse me, with that said, like we talked about in the critique, or not the critique, but the mixer, the end result or the end customer for the shot is not us, right? It's not photographers. It is people that want to see good photography, and they don't even know what good photography is until they see it. And they look at this. I think those people are going to look at this and say, oh my God, this is an amazing shot. They're not going to look and say, well, it looks like that spire is 3 pixels rotated. No, they're not going to say that. Right? They're going to look at it.
But I would argue that people see things that they can't identify and they can't articulate, but they get a sense of those images. They get a sense of things that are happening in those. So even if it's perfectly level and perfectly straight, and it has the sense that it's not, then I fix it, because I don't want even one person looking at that and thinking like, oh, it's tilted.
You don't want to have to go back and defend and say, no, it was not tilted. Yeah. That tower is actually sloping on the side. You don't want to have to give that asterisk. If it's visually, like it looks like it's visually slanted, then you're saying cheat in the other direction, even if it's incorrect that was actually there, right?
Yeah. But this image is definitely tilted. Across the only other small thing that I noticed is that across the top of the bridge, in the sky, we have these little tiny white streaks, and it was probably, I'm guessing it's probably insects or something that's flying around up there. That I would probably take those out. That would really be my only other suggestion. For this image. But I love the direction. I like it when bridges and things of this size are photographed from a perspective that they move away from you, so that you get that sense of distance and size and mass. And I love this in black and white. This is great.
Yeah. No, it's just thinking. This is one of those shots that, like we used to say, and we still say a lot, you want to see large, right? So this printed large with a big heavy frame sitting in a expensive hotel, Sydney hotel, or kind of entryway or lobby, this would be right at home in there. Right at home.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, interesting. You were talking about the light streaks. Steven says those are bats.
Yeah. Bats are not allowed.
No bats.
Bats be gone.
Call the Joker. Get rid of them. All right, cool, Steven. Thank you for sharing that. This is on my list too, to get down here to do these kinds of photos and to see the Sydney Harbor Opera House, or the Sydney Opera House. Very cool. All right, Amy, get out of here.
Yep.
Thank you for coming.
Good thing we got her image in.
She's like, I've seen my critique. I'm out.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. All right, Phil is in. Phil says, "Busy day at Sathergate or Arch. Any thoughts on the redacted mat would be appreciated." Oh, yeah, he brought this up in the community.
As far as the mat goes, I like it. What I would do is I would actually bump the image itself on the black mat up so that you build a chin on the mat. I really like that. And that's one of the things that I do a lot in my images. Your image does not have to be dead center inside of that black, right? You can move it up, you can move it to the right, you can create space, and you can give it a sense of mood and feeling by moving it around within that frame. So I might bump the matting up, or the image inside the black frame up a little bit, maybe 10 or 20%. But I love the image. I think that it's super cool. I like the fact that you got a subject that kind of held mostly still right there in the middle. And I would probably play stronger to that element and edit this in a way that those pop out. So burn down or take down the tones on the pillars, especially the trees in the background, and try to create some layering. So you got the subject underneath the arch, the looks like a little kid and somebody there with them in the orange shirt. That would be my main hook, and then the arch, and then the trees. So bring everything else down, bring those tones down.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my only everything you said, and then I would add another bullet point on there of I'd want to probably zoom this in a little bit. Like the pixels that you're spending down here at the bottom aren't really paying off, right? We don't really need to see this street down there. They're not in service of the arch or the subject of the image, or the street, the pixels down here. So I'd zoom in, and arguably these trees on the side there, we could lose some of those as well, and a little bit off the top. So if you punch in, do everything Troy said, but also punch in and crop some of that off so that you're using fewer pixels for that, then I think, it'd be stronger.
Yeah, I think what Phil did is I think he tried to leave the tree trunks in. And I get it. And so, test the crop, just like what Frederick suggested. If not, burn them down and minimize them, right? And bring the bottom up for sure. I absolutely agree. You could go in tighter, crop down from the top, crop up from the bottom, play with the trees. Maybe they don't work with the trunks cut out. That's a experiment. But anytime that you have an image like this where you've got light, dark, and it's kind of scattered throughout the image, you don't have a main subject. You have to show me the main subject. Is it the arch? Is it the light that's underneath the big tree, underneath the arch on the right? Is it the light to the left, the blurry, like where? I'm all over this image.
What do you as an artist want me to look at? It's your job to direct me in one frame, and where should I look? So yeah,
definitely.
It's interesting. Go ahead, Trey.
Oh, I was gonna say, here's a little technique. If you're not sure, convert it to black and white and flip it upside down, and then look at the image, and consciously ask yourself and look at the image and go, what am I drawn to in this image? And if it's not the subject that you want your viewer to look at, then you have to figure out how to change that. And usually that's dodging and burning, color saturation, things like that, cropping.
Yeah, I haven't tried that. You've mentioned that before. I've not tried the inversion technique. That's interesting.
Yeah, the other thing you can do is when you're shooting, you can actually defocus your eyes while you're looking through the camera, and it will completely change what you see in the frame. All of a sudden, a color or a shape or a bright spot or a dark spot will pop out to you, and you'll be like, what the heck is that? And then when you refocus your eyes, or even just defocus the camera a little bit, see what's in there.
Yep. Very cool. All right. Moving right along. Yep.
La Dude Arena says, I keep forgetting to do the black and white flip thing. That's what it's officially called,
the flippy thing.
BW flip thing. The BW flip thing.
All right, Nora Zanotinus. She a few words. The butcher shop. I'm not eating any meat that came out of that butcher shop. Just saying.
I've got image competition on the mind because I just recorded so many hours of that, and
Yeah, tell us.
that's
Yeah,
one.
judge this. How would you judge this?
Well, first of all, the title doesn't work. I that was the thing that caught me, right? Was like the butcher shop. Like, I don't get it. I have to assume that at some point this was the butcher shop, but that doesn't help me understand this image.
Mm.
Titling your image should help me understand, you know, what this was, and you could title it like, the old butcher shop, or I don't know. I can't be creative right now, but you know, um, aside from that, my distraction.
Aside from the title, yeah.
Aside from the title, I'm kind of struggling with whether or not I think we need that much detail through the windows. I think that I like the idea of letting it go nearly overexposed, right? Like,
Mm.
I'm okay with that, creating a silhouette from the inside, um, and bringing some of the tones on the inside down, and letting the outside go hot. I kind of like that idea. I mean, I like the way it's presented here.
Yeah, I look at it and I think I like the sky outside. So in fact, I would want to see more detail in the sky back there. And I was wondering, man, I wonder if sky replacement would actually be able to handle something this intricate and not knowing, because sky replacement kind of needs to know where the foreground, horizon, and sky is in order for it to make its AI suggestions about how to mask in a sky believably. So I don't know if it would work on this. It was worth a try. But just to have a little bit of detail out there, if you're going to show it, like there's some detail in the sky out there, but to have a little bit more for my taste, seasoned to my taste, I'd want to see it. If not, then go in the other direction. Like you're saying, Troy, go silhouette and lose the sky completely and lose a little bit of detail on the inside as well. But from a compositional standpoint, I like the arches. I see what she was trying to do here with the 1, 2, 3, and it's balanced correctly and all that.
Hmm.
We've got the light streaming in. As an artist, I understand exactly what she's going for here, and I think it works compositionally. The only thing is I don't know, Nora. I want to hear from you and what your thoughts are on why either blown out sky, no sky, silhouette or not silhouette, clouds or no clouds. What were you thinking? Because obviously, like we say, these critiques are 100% subjective. I feel like we should do a disclaimer at the beginning of every
No,
critique.
no. People get it.
The opinions
They get
expressed in this critique are those of
it. They
the.
get
Yeah,
it.
no, I know.
Yeah,
No.
or get out. Whatever. No,
Yeah,
don't do
yeah.
that. So just two more things for this one. One, I would trim off the highlight on the right.
Yeah.
That highlight, that wall, I would trim that off and let that highlight from the door end right in the corner. Also, something about the sky is not right. If you look at the windows, like there's some panes that have blue sky showing through them, and you have other panes that are not showing blue sky through them, and so it just
I think
doesn't.
those
It
are
just doesn't.
I think those are panes of glass that haven't been broken out yet.
Or
Right
not,
here and
because
right here and right
now,
there.
if you look at the panes above the door, the panes are dirty, and I don't think the panes next to
Oh,
them.
like right here? Yeah, in these? Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
I don't know. So this is one of those things, right? It doesn't look right. It
Mhm.
might be right, but it looks fake. It looks like the sky was brought in. Also, the gradation of the blue from the top of the arch down to the skyline doesn't feel natural to me. It feels like it's been pushed a little too far.
Oh, interesting.
Um yeah, so it just, and then you have the flare.
Hmm.
The sky was blown out.
Oh yeah,
You would have
Nora
said it.
says if the sky was blown out, you would have said it was too bright. Yeah, see? Yeah, you probably would have.
Not Not necessarily. It depends on how you played to that. I mean, having detail in the sky when it's just a big gaping hole above a mountain makes sense. But the subject is our windows and our arches. I'm okay with not having detail in the sky out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so again, that's
It's interesting how obsessed we get with detail in sky. Myself as well, right? You get obsessed with, oh, now that I have the power to put a sky in anything, an impressive sky in anything and make it look realistic, I should put a sky in anything. When in a shot
but
like this, maybe it doesn't need a sky, right?
but before I could put skies into things, I would make note of a location and I would try to come back when it was stormy or cloudy because I wanted those clouds in the sky, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I've got lots of images of distressed buildings and abandoned buildings. And I love the fact that the sky is barren and vacant. It makes me feel like I want to stay inside the building, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so, and then the only other really small thing, and I'm sorry I'm picking on this. I mean, not picking, I love the image. There's just so many things to work with here, is we have that flare right in the pillar to the left of the door. And see that flare, that circle?
Oh, right here. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yep. And that's one of those kind of things that can easily be taken out in two steps. One, you want to change the color of the flare first. By picking a color, and then you want to paint the color in. If you're using Photoshop, just use a color layer, and then you want to darken it by picking the surrounding area and slowly darkening it to blend in with the pillar. Even just reducing it will go a long way.
Yeah.
But I love this image, Nora. I really do. Even just the way you've handed it, you've shown it to us. I really, really dig it. I mean, it's a really wonderful place, and I want to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want it to be in my portfolio.
I know. This is a cool shot. Oh, Steven is telling Californians that it never rains in California, because we didn't know that. Steven, thank you for telling us that. We live here, dude. All right. Moving right along. Where are we at? Is that it? Was that all of them? It can't be all of them. I was having so much fun.
That's it. Yeah.
Come on. I want more shots. Come on, people. Oh, that's it. All right. You have a favorite of all these amazing shots? I'm leaving it to you.
My favorite is Eric Pronsky's.
Oh, okay.
To be honest, everybody, and I know we say this, right? We love all of our kids, but I just love that sort of infinite depth, very classic, simple repeating patterns. Not only for the arch theme, but I think that from a photography standpoint of perspective and lighting and simplicity and leading lines and all the things, I think that image just sort of embraces all of it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's my pick. It's up to you, Frederick, though. I always default to you.
Why are you gonna do that? Come on. Make a stand.
Put you on the spot. You pick your favorite. You tell us what your favorite is.
I like all of them. I think they're all winners. They all get ribbons. No, I think that one's good. Yeah, I like the bridge ones. Peters and Stevens are amazing. Karen's is also wicked. I love this too. I mean, there's this. Yeah. So. Yeah, I think Eric hit it right out of the park, because it's, the point of the critique was arches, and
right,
that definitely says arches 100%. So
yeah,
yep. And I love the shot. Yeah, I know you look at it and your brain immediately goes to, it needs a bride in there. It would be perfect. If I had a bride leaning up against that front or second arch, it'd be perfect.
Well, here's a funny story, is that being a portrait photographer and wedding photographer for so long, I used to only see a third of the way into my images. And so, yes, of course, I want a bride in there, and I would take her about a third of the way in, and I would, create depth and stuff using that. And then when I was out photographing landscapes, I was still photographing landscapes like I had a person a third of the way in, and I had to teach myself to focus all the way through on landscapes, all the way through on, architecture and stuff. So that was that was challenging for me. I mean, I shot a lot of really crappy landscapes that were out of focus in the distance. They were soft because I focus third of the way in, shoot at 2.8. Yes, that's how
You
do
made a
it.
lot of good backgrounds, is what you did. You were on the hunt for backgrounds.
I did.
Like Renee Robin out there capturing parts of images instead of a full image. Only you weren't compositing.
And it was a critique very much like this at a national level, where somebody went, God, it looks like this guy always sees a subject a third of the way into his images. And I'm like, okay, you're right.
Yeah, that helps. Yeah, really cool. We have to do a discussion, like a one-on-one discussion about image competition. I know you did that whole discussion, that group presentation and all that stuff, but I want to do a one-on-one, maybe even a 3-person panel or something on image competition and the validity of image competitions and the usefulness or not usefulness of them, depending on what your goals are as a photographer, right? Because when I was a fly on the wall in that meeting, and I was thinking, image competition for the person that is going to use that feedback correctly can be amazing. I think, to keep you in the, to guide you down to where you want to go. But for the person that's not going down that road, I feel like it could be a hindrance in some ways, because now you're like, well, I really felt like doing that thing with my art, but I shouldn't because those people won't like it, right? So and then these photo critiques as well, and the subjectivity of doing a consumer-based photo critique, where we are critiquing images on the merits of what a non-expert, not a non-expert in photography, but a non-expert in the subject matter of the photo would see. For example, Stephen brings up motorsports all the time, and how, you don't understand that this was there, and these are the challenges that I had to go through, and this, and the speed, and all this, and the intricacies and the challenges of creating an image for motorsports, which,
right,
doesn't mean a damn thing to a person that doesn't understand motorsports and is just looking at a photo because they want a picture of a Formula One race car in their living room. They're just going to look at it. They don't care about all the details and all the skill and the years of experience that went in to make it. So I look at, when I'm doing critiques, I look at the images from oh wow, I just happened upon this image. I have nothing. I don't know about Scotland, but look at this amazing shot here. Let me look at it on the merits of an amazing shot versus, oh, Karen had to climb over a valley and a hill and slay a dragon and, navigate a moat and a drawbridge to get this shot. And it took 3 years of experience to get it. But now she got the shot. Doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. It's about the pixels in the frame.
Yeah, you definitely should. The image competition, the image critique topic isn't, I don't think, flushed out and discussed enough among a general community. It's obvious that the TWiP community appreciates that. Everybody here, they appreciate that. That's why they're here, and they're growing from it. We grow from it just doing critiques. It's something that I really wish more people, as they're growing, could embrace and embrace it in the proper way, right? And not be afraid to get involved in competitions, not afraid to get involved in critiques. It would absolutely make, I think, such a difference. And plus, you get to meet people and you get to build a community of peers, and it's hard for some people, but when you start to put yourself into a community, you realize, oh my gosh, like I'm pretty low on the pecking order here. There's a lot of really amazing photographers here, and I'm not as good as I thought I was. That's really hard for people to wrap their head around, and then, but you work your way up through help, right? That's what it's for. So anything, any of that kind of topic that you can put together, I think would be fantastic.
I'm going to do that. And to what you said, I don't know. It depends on your personality type, right? So, and what you're in it for. So if you're in it for ego stroking and, hey, look at this image that I feel like is perfection already, I'm going to bestow it on you, in this image critique, and then not take anything or be offended by the stuff that we say, because clearly we're uninitiated in your genre of photography, so therefore we are inept or incompetent with our feedback. That's one thing, right? The other thing is if you are in a group, like you said, a group of peers, and you are towards the bottom or midway in there, I think that's a beautiful thing, because now you have weights. No one wants to lift weights that they can lift, right? You want to lift weights that are a little bit hard for you so that you can get bigger. So now you have people in here that are better, and you're like, oh man, how the hell did you do that? What's this luminosity masking stuff? Oh man, that's amazing. I can add that to my tool belt. Hey, this upside down black and white thing, I'm going to try that, right? You have all these different things that are coming from people that have experience in different areas that you don't have, regardless of your age or experience level. It can bring you up, right? And then suddenly you're moving up towards the top of that, your peer group in there. If you're at the top already, then it just becomes a nuisance and an ego stroking exercise, and would probably be frustrating for you if you think your work is already amazing, right? So who are you to tell me that I should crop in, right? I don't know.
Yeah, there's always, I don't care how good you are, there's always somebody better than you. And that doesn't mean that they're professional.
Right.
There's that some people just do good, right? They just do great. And you're like, God, I've been doing this for 30 years. I didn't see that. Not me personally. Not me.
Yeah, my friend over there. My friend.
Because I have mine.
Oh, yeah, because now you're a real photographer. You have a real camera now. Right?
Yes, I know. It's going to do everything for me. It's great. I can put my skies in here. I can put smiling faces in here. I can change people's clothes. It just does it all for me.
Does it have a hot air balloon button on there where you can just add a hot air balloon to any shot you want, or birds?
Why the hell would you do that? I mean, okay, different topic.
Oh, I love it. All right. Well, we will talk about that. All right, folks. Well, thank you. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And if you're watching us on the replay, which you probably are, most of the people watch this on a replay. Thank you for checking this out. If you want to be a member of the TWiP community, just go to join.thisweekinphoto.com and join us and submit an image. And every week, 9 times out of 10 every week, we are here recording these critiques and having a good time doing it. Next week's critique is patterns. That's going to be recorded on February 28th. Yeah, Feb 28th. Yeah. Same bat time, same bat channel. And the topic is patterns. Patterns. Interesting. So let's see what you got. That should be easy, right? Patterns are everywhere. Patterns are literally everywhere.
Patterns are everywhere, but they're not easy to photograph creatively. That's the challenge, right? Like, it's not just pointing your camera at and going, hey, look, I got a pattern, right? Like, it's doing it in a way that's creative and uses our photographic elements, right? Creativity and all the things. Yeah, I'm trying to think of them, but my brain's not going there. But yep.
I know your brain is on. I want to play with my Z9. I want to play with it.
there's so many. This part of my desk is full of things I have to do. That part back there is nice and clean.
Nice. Yeah, and I gotta say that right. I get to play with this GH6 today, so I'm gonna play with this camera and put it through its paces and see what's what. All right, man. Thank you, Troy Miller. Thank you for taking the time out and the self-restraint during this critique to not play with that Z9 camera.
It's just right here. It's just right. It's right here the whole time. My hand was on it the whole time. Yes.
I love it. Cool.
I think it's purring.
I want to see the shot. I want to see the first shot out of that thing. You got to share the first shot with the community. Share the first shot.
It's going to be a cat. So, okay.
Fine. It better be in focus.
Yeah.
If that first shot, I don't care what the first shot is, share the first shot out of that camera with the community. We got to see it.
Who knows? Yep.
All right, everybody. Have a good one, and we will see you next week. And if you're in the community, we'll see you on Friday for the mixer.
Yep. All right.
Peace.
Bye, everyone.